Hi guys, this is now part 8 of the Eileen Duran detox specialist consultation that I had and me reading over the notes that I have been talking through and then maybe digressing at times and talking over things on tangents relating to this detox process that I'm going through. So I just spoke in the last film a lot about malabsorption, about the GI tract, about the GI broom, which is a powder that you can take before bed that Dr. Morse suggests, which I will try very soon. And this one is going to be talking about the reoccurrence of bronchitis and asthma, calming the nerves, decongestion, spasms, herbal inhalants, eucalyptus, peppermint, getting younger. It's all exciting stuff. So yeah, stay with me on this. And if you want to support me with all of this, then subscribe, press the button, do the little bell and notification so that you know when the next film has come up, because of the detoxifying process that I'm going through, I'm not always able to post every single day, even though I have been recently. At times I can't do that. So yeah, clicking the bell will enable you to know when I've got a new one up. And then share with your friends these films or this series if they're going through the detox process and you think it might be interesting for them, or if you think they need to detox and what the process is like, then you know I'm explaining this in great detail, so that could help them too. So let's move on. So yeah, this whole getting younger thing is, so detoxing is a process where you're finding and noticing all of these pains, these emotional issues, and the kind of the way that we eat when we detox with the citrus, the fruit, the melons, the grapes, all of this stuff, and the juicing and the fasting if needs be, is taking you to a place where you will kind of go back in time with your illnesses. And for me, one of the things that I had when I was a baby, before the age of 1, I had bronchitis, and my mum at the time was able to cure me with homeopathy. But she said by looking at my eyes from the iridology report that I still had a lot of issues in my lungs and my bronchioles, and that as the getting younger process will be me going back in time with this issue, and I will actually experience this bronchitis and these lung issues and the breathing difficulties as part of the detoxifying process. I hope that makes sense for you. I did when I was I think it was about like 13, 14, 15. It was around the time when I was doing a lot of rowing and I was doing competitions and I was racing a lot. I really noticed asthma and difficulty breathing when I had to like push myself really hard physically, and I took a puffer with me, and I hated using the puffer, and I would only use it if I really had to. And I know that I had laryngitis really badly at one point. For a number of weeks I was in bed, I think, and I really just couldn't breathe and it was really intense. So I used the puffer then. But yeah, so I'm at the stage that I've kind of had a worse stage of breathing than I am now. But I think that's just something I'll be coming back to and noticing in time, and the more I detox, the less I'll notice it, and I will have got younger in that stage of my healing. So she said, don't worry about it. You can do things to calm your nerves, and the herbs will help you with that. And the more that I decongest, page 6, that I will actually, that will help me with this bronchitis and the asthma and those kind of issues. She said what you might want to do is you might want to get spasm calming formula, and there is one with Dr. Morse herbs, which I haven't bought, but I think that I'm over the worst of it, so I don't need to, and I've been able to kind of get through it in other ways to calm my nerves. She did say you can use passion flower, and I bought a, what's it called, moonshine yarrow flower essence, which is an emotional thing and is really calming as well. So I've been using that instead, and that's been really great for me. You can take up to 4 drops under the tongue, and just whenever you need it, basically, and sometimes it's been like 4 times a day or whatever, and that's been good for me. That's really helped. So moving on, herbal inhalants. Now, I didn't buy a herbal formula to inhale. I know you can do that, but what I did instead is I didn't have eucalyptus, but you can use that. I've been using rosemary essence, and I've been putting in some drops of lavender as a calming, emotional kind of relaxant. And I've also been using a bit of peppermint, just because it really helps to get into the bronchioles and into the lungs quite deeply. But if I had eucalyptus, I would have used it. But for me, so far, that's been great. And I've been doing that most mornings for about 5-10 minutes sometimes, until basically the boiling water isn't effective anymore and is too cold to kind of evaporate up those smells and those benefits, basically. When the water gets too cold, you don't get it anymore. So then off comes the towel, and then I carry on with my day. She said that it would be really important for me as part of the detox process to write it out. So if you can't always talk about emotions with people in your life, or maybe you don't have that opportunity because you can't ring that friend right then, or your husband or partner isn't there right then write it out. That's what I've been doing. I've often been sitting there and writing in my journal. Like last night, I had a huge emotional outpouring, and once that had kind of dissipated, then I was able to write through what I'd been thinking about, put it on the page, and then it already passed. But it's good. My osteopath said it's really good to write it out, because it's a written overview of this whole healing process that you're going through. She says at the end, it's really nice just to read through everything that you've gone through from beginning to end, and all that stuff that you've just left behind and that you've moved on from. And I think I can see how that would be really interesting and beneficial. It's like, oh my God, I've gone through all this and I've done all of that, and I don't need to go back there again, So I'm doing that, and I'm finding that really, really helpful. She said I've got a really acidic liver, and that I will have anger issues. We did talk about anger issues because that's something that came up as one of the pointers that came up on her health form that I had to fill out. Sometimes I did have these feelings of rage or anger that would come up, and they would every so often express themselves quite intensely. I have spoken about anger in one of these part 1 or 2 or 3, I can't remember which one now, but have a look in more detail. And the herbal formulas and the herbs that you take can help with dealing with your anger. And I would say anger lately for me has changed. So it's become more of as a frustration, and it hasn't been so much of an outburst that other people would see or experience. So I haven't expressed it in the same way that I was, and the frustration I'm able to talk about in a more kind of rational manner, and then I can heal it through, you know, working through with like a breathing technique, or going to lie down and properly resting and writing it out and all that kind of thing, or talking to someone. So the anger hasn't come out in such an intense way that it was. So I think I've been able to work on that quite successfully, and that's